Welcome to another video review. Today I'm looking at the SilverStone Strider Plus 500 watt power supply. What's included is the user's manual, information booklet, modular leads, 8 screws, 4 are black regular screws, and 4 are black thumb screws. There are 4 Velcro tie downs, 4 regular cable ties, the power cord, and the power supply. The Strider Plus series of power supplies are currently available in a number of different wattages. I'll be reviewing the 500 watt model. Now, how is this wattage determined? To understand this, you need to know what rails are. Rails are basically well-regulated transformers which convert domestic current into the voltages that your computer system can use, and there are essentially 2 different rails, the 3.3/5 volt rail and the 12 volt rail. In this particular case, the approximate maximum peak output of the 3.3/5 volt rail is 120 watts, and the 12 volt is 408 watts, which is essentially how the wattage of this power supply is determined. Now, the 3.3/5 volt rail is responsible for the motherboard, memory, PCI cards, and so on, while the 12 volt rail is responsible for the hard drives, optical drives, fans, CPU, video cards, etc. Also, some might be interested to know the peak amps on each rail. Well, the plus 3.3 volt rail is 24 amps, the plus 5 volt rail is 20 amps, and there's a single plus 12 volt rail which is 34 amps. There are a number of important things to remember when selecting a power supply. The first is wattage. Determine how much wattage you are going to require by the amount of hardware you will be installing. Generally speaking, a medium to high-end gaming rig would require a 500 to 700 watt power supply. For a hardcore system, select the power supply that's around 800 watts. If, however, you are building an extreme gaming rig with a top-of-the-line multiple video card setup with lots of other hardware, select a power supply that's 1000 watts or greater. Second, it should be at or above 80% efficient at typical load. This power supply's efficiency is between 82 to 85% at 20 to 100% loading. Third, it should meet the latest ATX and other current standards, environmental directives, overvoltage, undervoltage, and other protections. This power supply meets all current standards. Fourth, I'd recommend choosing a power supply that has APFC. APFC, or active power factor correction, assists the power supply in being more efficient and therefore stable under load. APFC basically reduces total harmonics, corrects input voltage, and allows for full input voltage range. Thankfully, this power supply has APFC. Fifth, there are 3 main certifications: 80 Plus, NVIDIA SLI, and ATI Crossfire. Many of today's high-end power supplies meet one or more of these certifications. This power supply is certified to meet 80 Plus bronze requirements. Sixth, look for a power supply that uses Japanese capacitors. This ensures a much more reliable product than a power supply with low-grade capacitors. Now finally, get a power supply that has enough leads for your setup. Also consider a power supply that has a modular design because it reduces the cable mess inside the case. This is one very small power supply which has a black lead-free paint finish and the housing is steel. They include a quiet 120mm fan with a recessed fan grill. This fan and the ventilation ensures that the inside of the power supply remains cool in almost any environment. Here's the power cord connection, but there's no power switch. This power supply has lots of sleeved leads, and they are all modular, including the main motherboard leads. Modular leads are fantastic because you only need to use the ones required for your particular setup, which reduces the cable mess and increases airflow inside the case. Also note that if you require shorter modular leads, SilverStone has the PP05 short cable set for the Strider series of power supplies. Shorter leads come in handy if you're installing the power supply in a small case, like for example a home theater PC case, or really any case where you don't require long leads. Finally, have a listen to the 120mm fan. if you're looking for a completely modular 500 watt power supply that is extremely short, well, this just might be it. This power supply is completely and entirely modular. It's 80 plus bronze certified, comes with a very quiet 120 millimeter fan. Overall, this is a great product. Until next time, take care.